getting back to Deion Sanders, and I have a series of. Did you ever see those tweets Deion Sanders did? He put up.
About the after the game.
Yeah, about the people stealing this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay, because I saw the reason why I asked. I saw like in the Facebook thread that it was a Facebook and Instagram. One of them threads was talking about it, and
Mm-hmm.
somebody was mentioning that. But after or during Jackson State's game against Edward Waters, somebody, well, according to Dion, one of the female, one of the women on the staff caught a man in the act taking Dion's stuff. And so let me go to this screenshot. And then Dion is saying, whoever putting out the lie that my belongings weren't stolen is lying. My belongings were taken out of a zip bag in my office, and more items were taken as well from my office. We have retrieved them since being reported. My staff member witnessed the crime. And then the other one is lies it was stolen because staff member walked in on the theft being committed, but she couldn't fight a dude off. So according to his tweets that he's put out, his the lady on his staff caught the dude stealing the stuff, but she couldn't physically
Stop him.
stop it from happening. But eventually, the stuff was brought back, and so different perspectives. Like, so my first thought was like, isn't it the second time? Did Dion have to? Did somebody take his boom box?
Not his truck or something like that.
So this is the second time that this man's stuff was stolen. So I got two main things, two main thoughts on this. For one, I, I'm not wrapping my mind around how you have somebody in your community who is enhancing your community, and you want to steal from this man who's bringing nothing but positivity to your community. I'm not wrapping my mind around why you're like, well, because the mentality probably like, well, he got it, so he ain't gonna miss it, and it's like, well, that's not the point. That's not the point, because somebody could say the same thing about you, but to really think that, hey, all right, well, I'm gonna go take this man's stuff, like, what the hell, man? Because it's one thing I didn't like was, and Stephen A. said it, and I kind of, this is one of the few times I agree with Stephen A. Um, I think it should have been handled. I don't know how much I agree with Deion Sanders voicing it in the interview, in the post game interview, just because once again we know how the media does, and we know the idea already about HBCUs and just black people in general. People think people think across the board like HBCUs really don't handle their business, and that's not true across the board. Everybody's case is different. A lot of people who don't get their financial aid on time don't tell you how much they didn't do what they were supposed to do. Now, on the other hand, some people turn their stuff in early and they never get their financial aid. I myself have never had a financial aid problem at an HBCU. So it's different for everybody. But we know one thing that doesn't change is the negative narratives about HBCU. So that's why I don't agree with Dion voicing it in the post game interview, but I agree with it being handled. And the person who did it, don't throw them away, but find a healthy, positive way to rectify the situation or whatever needs to be done. But y'all need to get y'all stuff together down in Jackson, Mississippi, man. Like, don't be stealing from the man who brings positivity to your community and enhancing the economy in Jackson, because that's also happening, and that's going to happen with the personality and everything that Deion Sanders brings to the table. So, go ahead.
With regard to Dion's, responses in the post game, you know, ESPN hired Rush Limbaugh on the NFL show and got mad at Rush Limbaugh because he went Rush Limbaugh.
I remember that.
You hired Deion Sanders, so you can't get mad at Deion Sanders for being Deion Sanders.
True.
You got the good that Deion is doing for the that community, that school, that conference, HBCUs in general is just going to far outweigh, any of the perceived negative things that may could transpire because of his personality. So I just brushed that off, and I wasn't really bothered by it. It's Dion being Dion. Thank you, Dion, for being Dion.
But I get
Yeah,
you, Dion being Dion. That media though.
I feel Joe, but like I felt like he was so taken aback by it because I like think about the moment, like because he's said in a lot of appearances that he wanted to be a head coach. So you think what he must be feeling, like you get to realize that dream. You have a great victory, you celebrate, and then you go in your office, your stuff got stolen. I mean, that had to put, such a damper on that moment that he probably just wasn't thinking about for him to go and talk about it, what it would look like. So,
No,
I mean,
I get you.
I get what you're saying, but like, I kind of give him a
I don't think
pass
he
on
did
it.
nothing
Like,
wrong. Like I
yeah,
do want to clarify. I don't think he done nothing wrong. Let's just say when I disagree
it's
with
bad.
him.
It's
I'm just
bad.
saying I partner when they're doing, but I don't think he did
Right.
nothing wrong.
It's bad. It's bad optics.
Yeah.
So, and I get that. Like, yeah, and I just like I said, like that was my first thought. I just felt bad for him, man, because like it's supposed to be like that's a situation where it's like, the culmination of like something you worked so hard for, and then for it to get, mired with that, it's just like, damn.
Yeah.
I think Leon. Who is Leon? I think
Deion
Dion.
Sanders.
Leon. There you
Yeah,
go.
Sandcastle.
Sandcastle. I think Dion is learning a very tough lesson, right? Like everything Dion has said since he got to Jackson was community, community, community. I want to do this with the community. I want my players to do good in the community. But what Dion is learning is there are people in the community who don't care about the community. As
Mm-hmm.
much as he's doing to bring to Jackson, Mississippi, there are people who just see Dion. They see what he has.
Opportunity.
Yeah, they see an opportunity to capitalize. Hey, he's gonna be here. We can steal this. This is the second time he been there for a few months, and this is the second time he done had stuff burglarized.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think there's a part of Dion, that he has to be more realistic and saying, okay, I do kind of have to safeguard some things. I can't show everything because we know Dion is Dion. Dion is prime time.
He flashy.
That he's flashy. But I think these two instances need to show him, like, listen, I get what you're trying to do, but there are vultures. They don't care about what you bring into the community. They all about self. They could care less. And in that moment in that press conference, you could tell it was like Sam saying, like everybody was saying, he was just taken aback. And so for him, it was just like, I can't even celebrate my first victory as a head coach because of XYZ. And I
Right.
think once it hit the media, it was food for a lot of them. Like you said, anything they can find to put fuel onto there's problems with HBCUs, that was just fuel for them. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that right there, I do feel you, Joe. I kind of wish he didn't, but I could tell why he did.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I said, it's not telling nobody how to feel or what to say. I just don't trust the media like that. And because we know we spent a lot of years hearing them talk negative about our folks. So, but at the same time, definitely understand the situation. But it's more of a media thing than a Dion thing. Now, speaking of the media, did y'all hear the Paul Feinbaum comments about Dion?
Oh, not me at least.
Well, Paul Feinbaum was questioning Dion's end goal at Jackson State. And I kind of feel like he was kind of stirring the pot a bit. Um, I don't think anybody had the mindset of Deion Sanders being at Jackson State long term. If it happens, it happens. Like, am I mistaken? Any of y'all thought Deion be at Jackson State like long term?
No,
I ain't even thought about it.
it depends on how it play out,
Right,
but not really.
right. So most people mindset Deion Sanders go to Jackson State, depending on how successful he is, could be his stepping stone to the next place. And so basically, it's like Paul Feinbaum was questioning his total commitment to Jackson State and his overall end goal, with the idea of, well, we know he's trying to get back to Florida State. And I was just kind of like, I understand you got a job to do, Paul. I understand, but sometimes, bruh, be your ass quiet, man. Just sometimes, man. Just be your ass quiet. Like we understand what your job is and how whatever, but you know, be your ass quiet sometimes.
Yeah, because I mean, for him to say that, that's like you questioning this man's integrity. Because I mean, like everybody has aspirations, but that doesn't mean you're not gonna put your best foot forward in your current role.
Right.
So for him to the kind of insinuate, to me, that sounds like that's what he's insinuating.
Yeah.
Um, that's I mean that's not cool.
So yeah. But man, y'all stop stealing that man's stuff.
Right. Right.
Like for real, man. Show some like and and the community. Y'all know who the people are doing this thing because that's how the stuff is being found. Check them people, man. Police yourselves. Come on, man. Come on. All right, so the second part of this rant is going at John Gator. He's the coward who killed himself after he got felony charges for human trafficking and sexual assault. He was one of them coaches on the gymnastic team who couldn't keep his damn hands to himself. Sis ass gonna kill himself. So former U.S. Olympic gymnastics coach John Gator died by suicide Thursday, hours after he was charged with 24 crimes stemming from allegations that he physically, emotionally, and sexually abused gymnasts under his care. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel confirmed that Gator took his own life Thursday afternoon, calling his death a tragic end to a tragic story for everyone involved. Michigan Michigan State Police confirmed that Gator's body was found at an interstate highway rest stop at 3:24 p.m. Gator was 63, was scheduled to be arraigned at 2:15 in Eaton County, Michigan on Thursday. We had no indication that Gator intended to flee or hurt himself or others. We had been in contact with his attorney, and we're assured of his cooperation. And that was a spokeswoman, Kelly Rossman McKinney. Michigan State officials charged Gator with 24 felonies, 20 counts of human trafficking and forced labor, 1 count of first-degree sexual assault, 1 count of second-degree sexual assault, racketeering and lying to a police officer. A lawyer from the Michigan Attorney General's office also said Thursday that Gator knew disgraced Team USA Dr. Larry Nassar was sexually abusing patients at the gym where both men worked, and lied to police about it during a 2016 investigation into Nassar. The remainder of the charges against Gator are all tied to his own behavior with gymnastics. And with gymnasts, he coached at gyms he owned in Michigan. Law enforcement started investigating Gator in February 2018 in the wake of complaints raised about his abusive coaching style during Nassar's sentencing hearing. The court documents released Thursday allege that, among other things, Gator in January 2012 digitally penetrated a girl who was between the ages of 13 and 16. Hey, they should. You know how like you watching people forge swords and weapons and stuff, and they take the iron in its raw state, in its base state, and they stick it in that hot fire and let that whole tip of that thing get hot and turn orange.
Yeah.
I take that. They should find a way to put his soul back in his body. Cause I take that rod off them hot coals and shove it in his ass.
I
Are
knew it
you
was
stick?
coming. I knew it was coming.
Are you sticking your fingers? And come on, bruh.
So this is the second Michigan State official to get in trouble.
The third that I've covered on here, because it was a lady who eventually got off like six months or a year later on her charges, and
Yeah,
she
but
got off on the perjury stuff.
yeah, it's all stemming from that Nassar guy, because like apparently they all knew that this was going on and
Yeah.
just didn't. Either they were directly. It sounds like this guy. They think he was directly involved and doing his own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So yeah, it's crazy, man. But like, buddy, you said he did this after he was charged, so he didn't get convicted. It's just the charge.
Yep. Yep.
So I mean,
Yep.
so he knew what was gonna happen in the trial.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, he's guilty.
Right.
He knows he's guilty, and his representative probably told him that you need to take this plea deal, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna take my chances of
In the afterlife.
in the afterlife."
Come on, man. Like because I'm always asking, what is it about our culture that breeds people like this? Because there's something wrong with American culture that we keep breeding sexual predators. And I think we, and the reason why I asked this, working in sexual and domestic violence for 10 years, I see people take angles of, I do see people take cultural angles, but I think even in like the way it's publicized to people or it's communicated to people, it's more like a surface level. And so they like, this is the problem, and these are people who are affected by the problem. But okay, but let's dig deeper. Let's dig to the why. And that's what I'm always thinking. Like, how do we produce people like this? And then like these sick bastards go and get training in these areas and build expertise in these areas that allow them to exist in spaces where they can prey on young people like this. Like, there's some calculated deviance right here.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy because, like you said, man, it's almost like, I mean, he had this plan for almost his entire life.
Right.
Like
That's what it felt like.
this, what I'm aspire. I'm inspired to work in gymnastics. That way, I'll have access to young women. So yeah, like they say, it's a tragic end. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's tragic in that he didn't get to face his justice. But and like the victims, they don't necessarily get that full. I mean, I don't know if this is a way of closure. I mean, it's hard to put myself in that situation. So I mean, I can see maybe they don't get that final closure in that measure. So I could see it as a tragic in that sense.
Man, he need his ass whoop. Wake him back up. Put his soul back in his body and whoop his. Because my usual thing is need his ass whooped and he need therapy. Because I believe in punishment for certain crimes like this, but I also believe in the rehabilitation, because you can't just whoop somebody's ass and then put them back out.
Right.
That could increase the chance of them doing it again. So they need the therapy and the counseling to correct the behavior. But somebody like this, I'm not opposed to a lot more ass whooping to add on this. Him getting hit by a truck, he wake up and his meat super glued or gorilla glued to his leg,
Gorilla
hey,
glue.
hey, it's like, because well, let me ask you all, like, as men, right? Have you all ever had a girl tell you about her sexual assault experiences?
Mm-hmm.
And
I
and
have.
so And so you know the anger that you feel when they telling you about this, because you like that's my homie, and you know I whoop somebody's ass for you. That's what you thinking, and they telling you, and you feel powerless because the situation has already happened. But
Mm-hmm.
you like, man, okay, now I'm ready to whoop somebody's ass, and so it's kind of like that with these situations, especially with these dudes in this situation or in this position and this power and the influence that they have with the young girls. It's like you say, I'm gonna put myself in this position to be a sexual predator. I'm gonna mold my whole life to be a predator. And then when you hear about it, and then you hear Buddy done died, you're like, no, wake him up, wake his ass back up. Somebody find some kind of way to put some kind of battery in his body and make his ass move or something. Because no, he can't. He took the easy way out. That's why I keep calling him a coward.
Mm-hmm.
Coach
Yeah, he
ass.
didn't like you were saying, he didn't want to face his judgment here. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you see a lot of, especially if your guilt will push you to something. It just depends on what level you willing to go to. You know what I mean? He was charged. He was charged. And he's like, oh no, I'm gone. I'm out of here. Alrighty, because he knew what that looks like for him. They're gonna give that man 999 years plus 99. And he
Mm-hmm.
knew it. You know what I'm saying? So for him, it was more so I can't, I'd rather not deal with that. Here's the easy way out. However he did it, boom, I'm gone. Painless. I'm gone.
Man, we got to do better. Like we just got to do better culturally, man. Like we got to take better assessments of ourselves as a culture. Like us, especially us as men. Like what type of impact are we having on the other men around us? What type of impact have the other men had on us? Like think about just how we view women, like how we view ourselves when we interacting with women and things like that. Because like none of y'all, I never have because I done been around y'all long enough. I never have a second thought about any of you all because I understand like your upbringing, how you feel about women. We've had in-depth conversations about plenty of things. We've seen each other hot, upset, mad. We've seen that. But at the same time, it's like, we've seen cats that we went to school with get caught up in things like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, well, damn, we come from the same environment. So it's like, well, just looking at the culture cues, what sets people on the right path and what sets people on the wrong path. So, I don't know, but
It's tough, man, because I mean, I feel you. You can have a great environment, but like you always because even with what you're saying about us, man, I mean, like you never know. I mean, people, you never know what someone's capable of until they do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard because, like, I mean, in this situation, granted, the depthness of what he was doing, it sounds like there were. I have to think that there were some signs, but a lot of times you want it to be signs, but it's not.
Not, yeah.
So it's hard, man.
yeah.
You can be around somebody every day and still not know what they do behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much we think we know people, we really don't know
That's
as
true.
much as we think we know about certain people. And it's only until you see them on the news and
Mm-hmm.
whatever scandal they done hit, be like, wait, what? You know what I'm saying? And we've seen that. We've seen, like you said, we've all seen that from people we know personally. And I think these situations like these, and then there are a lot of I think also too, a lot of the blame with the people who are complicit around them. Like
Yeah.
knowing something and not saying anything. Like look at the Catholic Church. Like they've been doing it, messing with them altar boys for years. And they know it. It's not no secret to a lot of them. But it's only till one of them get outed that they're like, oh my gosh, you know what I'm saying? So it's not nothing new. like you said, it's just a matter of us taking responsibility and say, all right, this ain't right. This ain't right.
Yeah.
Especially know it. But like Sam said,
Mhm.
man, sometimes we just don't know. You just don't know.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I hope they get all this stuff straightened out, man. And I wonder what made them believe some of the things he said earlier and what made them come back now. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't know, man. But it's unfortunate that these young ladies had to go through this. Now they got to deal with this trauma and try to get over the trauma and move on with their lives. When you got sick fucks like him out here doing this stuff and then killing themselves, trying to take the easy way out with this soft ass. So
And not only the victims that you gotta feel bad for, you gotta feel bad for all the men who work in that profession,
Right. That's,
whether it's the medical people who work in athletics or the people who are, genuinely, passionate about gymnastics or any type of women's sport. And so those people get a bad rap too. It's always going to be people negative around, why you have so many male people, male coaches in gymnastics, why you have so many male trainers, and that there's people who are going to have to deal with that stigma when they aren't these types of monsters that, working at Michigan State. We're working at Michigan State.
right, man, look here, man. Y'all better get y'all mind right out here in this world, man. Let's do better. Let's do better. Well, I was about to say let's do better Americans, but these fools can't even put their mask over their nose.